Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vision Cast. Joel Penton here, founder and CEO of LifeWise Academy. This is our special birthday episode because it does happen to be my birthday today. It's not going to be my birthday when you watch this because we are recording this, but nonetheless, it's my birthday. Just thought I'd let you know. And on the Vision Cast, we do cover two things. Number one, a little bit of the LifeWise big picture, some of our philosophy behind what we do, and we do some LifeWise storytelling. For the big picture segment, I want to talk a little bit about relating to local churches. Okay, we recognize LifeWise is not a church. In fact, on a recent Vision Cast, we talked about our sixfold LifeWise pledge and how we want to be local church driven. That means churches are utilizing LifeWise as a tool in their communities. Churches are utilizing LifeWise as a bridge to bridge kids and families from the local school to getting engaged with churches. But we are not a church. And in fact, we have a document called our vision philosophy, and we have a whole section on relating to local churches. I'm going to read it to you. It says this: we understand that LifeWise Academy is not a local church. However, we aim to serve local churches as an effective tool they can wield in their mission to reach their communities. We will look for every opportunity to strategically connect students and their families to the broader ministry of local churches. We will be careful to leave the responsibilities of robust spiritual shepherding, church discipline, and administering baptism and communion to local church leaders. So again, LifeWise is what's technically known as a parachurch ministry. We function alongside the local church and in many ways for the local church. We believe in the centrality of local churches, and we recognize that, there are some places, there are some cultures, there are, countries where LifeWise wouldn't be necessary or even helpful. LifeWise is not fundamental to Christianity, but the local church is. The local church is central. The local church is irreplaceable. We recognize churches have real authority. We think of Hebrews chapter 13 that says that we are to submit ourselves to our church leaders as they are those who will give an account for us. And so we certainly don't want to replace or displace local churches in any way. And so for those reasons, there's a couple things that are important as we think about this. Number one, that we don't, as the statement said, we don't become the primary place. LifeWise doesn't become the primary place of shepherding or doctrinal teaching or administering what would be called the sacraments or ordinances. Now, we recognize that for many students, we may be the only exposure they have to the things of God, to churches. And so for local students, to a degree, LifeWise will kind of function as their church in a way until they can get connected to a local church. But we want to be careful that we understand kind of our lane. And so that's for students, that's for families. But number two, while we are hopeful and we trust that serving in LifeWise, for LifeWise staff members and volunteers, while serving is life-giving, certainly, we want to recognize that LifeWise should not be the primary place where we are poured into. LifeWise is really an outlet. It's where we can go to pour out and to pour into the lives of others. And so the saying that we have around here is that when you come to LifeWise, we're not coming here to get filled up. No, we are showing up, filled up, so that we can then effectively serve others. Again, this is how we relate to the local churches. We are a tool in their hand in the broader mission to reach communities. And somebody who's doing a great job of that, we have on the line, going to provide our LifeWise story, and it is Becky, who is a teacher in the Western Reserve School District. Becky, are you there?
Yes, I am. And happy birthday, Joel.
Oh, thank you so much, Becky. That means so much to me. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for everything you do as a teacher on the front lines of this mission. Maybe tell us just quickly, how did you get connected to LifeWise?
Well, it first started out with my pastor had asked me what, LifeWise was coming into our area, and we had a newspaper article, and I was reading the newspaper article about it. And so my pastor had said, as our church should we get involved with LifeWise or not? What's your opinion, Becky? I know you're a retired teacher. What do you think? And I said, well, I had read the article, and seeing the article, it said that they were going to take class. The students usually will be coming out of specials. And I'm a physical education teacher, and I'm like, as a teacher, I said, I'm kind of against it because you're taken out of my class. But on the other side, as a Christian, I am all for it because we're trying to reach the unchurched children and provide them a Bible education to learn about God and Jesus. So I just said, I'm just kind of middle of the line, I'm middle of the fence. So then the following Sunday, Peggy, who is one of our church members and a friend of mine, came up and said, Becky, I am the new program director at LifeWise Western Reserve, and I would love, since you've gone to Western Reserve as a student, I would love for you to be on our staff and be our substitute teacher. And then next year, my vision is to increase to the middle school, and I'd love to have you with there. And I said, well, Becky, I don't know that much about LifeWise. And she goes, we have Summit coming up. It's a big gathering, and it's the end of July. I'd love for you to come along. We've got room, and make your decision there. Come and learn everything about it. I said, all right. Joel, I was completely taken in. I loved Summit. It was perfect. And I looked at Peggy and I said, definitely, you've got a teacher I'll be your teacher for LifeWise. So that's how I got connected with LifeWise.
That is awesome. I'm so excited to hear that you're at Summit. Behind me is a photo that we took at Summit, at the end of Summit, that has everybody standing in front of the buses. So I guess you're at one of the many faces there in front of the big red school bus.
Yeah, I'm towards the back in the middle. It's hard to see my face, but I am in there. Yes, I am.
Yeah, no, we're not seeing many faces in the back there in this particular photo. Everybody's hands up in the air. But man, what an exciting time that was. And we're all hands on deck right now getting ready for Summit coming up this year. So hopefully we'll get to see you again this year. If you're listening to this and you can come to Summit, but you're not planning on it, we'd love for you to come because it is really a highlight of the year as we all gather together. So that's great. And you know what else is really cool about your story, Becky, is that it's very typical for those in public education when they first hear about LifeWise to have a certain level of hesitancy, right? I mean, knowing that there's already so much that's crammed into the school day and how are we going to make this work? And it is very typical that there's hesitancy on the front end, which is completely understandable. But then as things get going, for there to be kind of this recognition like, oh, this is a really positive addition to the school schedule. Is that what you found?
Oh, definitely. I've talked with teachers. They've noticed a difference in the behavior of the children. And I myself personally, when I get them the first beginning of the year of them not paying attention, moving around. And then once we start talking about the characteristics, it's like the message gets through, and the teachers, the classroom teachers have also said that they do notice a difference with the behavior of the students of going to LifeWise. So I do believe that teaching the characteristics is also helping to benefit the children too.
Oh yeah, we have no doubt, and we hear that so regularly, and so we often find ourselves speaking with an administrator or an educator who's understandably hesitant. We often find ourselves saying, "Hey, just let us get started, maybe with a grade or two, and on a small level, let's show the value. We're confident in the program, confident in the model. We're confident you'll love it, and then see the program expand." It's cool to see that is what's kind of happened in your community. But Becky, you had a particular story, I think, that you were going to share with us.
Yes, the impact that we've had this year, we had a new director. Her name was Nina. And she wanted to do a meet and greet so that we get to meet the parents. And so we had a full packed house. We had to end up getting out extra chairs. And she was like, this is so good. I mean, we all felt like the presence of God right there in our glory that we were doing in the program. She said, let's do an end of the year program. So all of us teachers were like, yeah, sure. So I challenged to my fifth graders. I said, I would like for you to write, what does LifeWise mean to you? Did you get anything out of it this year? Was it a big waste of time? Just your opinion, just write it up. And it was voluntary. And this one girl did write it up, and it touched my heart. And I ended up showing it to my program director. And Nina was also touched by it, so she sent it on to corporate to you. And so I'd like to read it for you right now here real quick. Her name is Mia, and she's a fifth grade student. And she wrote, LifeWise has taught me that I am more valuable than I thought. I have realized that I shouldn't take my anger out on other people. LifeWise has taught me the meanings of holidays like Christmas and Easter, and things like a donkey means peace and a horse means war. I love LifeWise, and it's one of the kindest churches I have ever been to. And it just takes you back of like, you don't realize how much you touch these students. And especially for Mia, she's very shy and quiet. I had no idea she had any type of an anger issue. But that we did talk to her about, what you had talked about churches,
right.
That we said, we are meet in the church, but this LifeWise is not the church.
Right.
This is the church that you might like to come to. And she goes, yeah, I'm going to talk with my parents and see if we can come here because I like coming here. So she's got a positive feeling of coming to that church, of just LifeWise being there. So it's a nice connection. It's a bridge to help carry it over.
I mean, what a perfect story to share on the back end of me chatting about churches. That is regularly what happens, right? I mean, kids, this LifeWise is what they know of church, but it's kind of like they're just coming in the front door, right? To be able to say, oh, but LifeWise, while not technically a church, we'd love to see you get connected. And those are the stories we hear every day, and how great to see the impact of those basics we take for granted, about the basic Bible stories, about the basic biblical worldview. Was it Mia, did you say?
Mia, yes.
Yeah, to see Mia picking up on those things. Wow, well, thank you for sharing that story. What an honor to link arms with you, Becky, as you're selflessly, sacrificing for the mission. When you see the impact like that in the life of Mia, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's definitely that I am doing God's work. It makes me feel very honored that I am getting through to these students, because many times, even as just a regular classroom teacher, are you getting through?
Right.
And then when you get this feedback like this, it's like, yes, I am doing the right thing. We're getting through. God's message is getting through. And it's extremely exciting. I'm ready to start another year. Let's do it again.
Well, I agree. We're ready to serve right alongside you. Well, Becky, thanks for everything you're doing, and thank you everybody for watching the Vision Cast, and we will see you next time.